Have you ever come across those girls who just seem to grab the attention of a room wherever she goes? People gravitate towards her and maybe just linger around just to get some of her energy for themselves. Career and financial opportunities seem to come to her as if it's effortless. She gets complimented and the metaphorical red carpet rolled out for her wherever she goes. Have you ever looked at her and gone, why can't that be me? Well, some might say that she's an it girl. The it girl chooses to be the leader of her own life instead of following the lives of others. The it girl has goals that she's working towards and comes up with a detailed plan on how she's going to get there. The it girl trusts herself to make decisions that she knows will further benefit her life despite what everyone else is doing. She is truly magnetic. Hello everyone, and welcome to the first official video under the It Girl Collective. If you haven't already watched the short video I posted just a few days ago explaining what all of this means, like the reasoning behind the name and everything, then be sure to watch it. It's only 5 minutes long, so it won't take up too much of your time. Today's video is going to be about how to become magnetic. And by magnetic, I mean how to move about life to attract the right people, the right relationships, and the right opportunities. Being magnetic is not about sitting back and just letting things come to you or happen to you. There is an active role that you play in this process too. It's just like how two magnets work. Imagine yourself as a red magnet and the opportunities, relationships, and body you want are the blue magnet. In order to be pulled towards one another, the magnets must meet in the middle, and only then will they cling to each other. The same way that you have to meet your goals halfway and not just expect them to fall into your lap. I know this very well because if you would have told me 2 years ago or even 1 year ago that I would be that girl I described at the beginning, I would think you were joking. I would say there's no way. But all it takes is for you to put in the work and you can have the life you desire and so well deserve. So becoming magnetic is not about putting on some kind of persona either. It's not about wearing certain things or wearing pink everywhere you go and talking in a high-pitched voice or a softer tone to come across as more feminine. Now, don't get me wrong. I think being magnetic and exuding an air of femininity definitely go hand in hand. But if you feel like you have to go against who you authentically are deep down and like you're putting on an act, then you're doing it wrong. And it's eventually going to get tiring and you're eventually going to stop. So I don't want to encourage fakeness here, but remember that there is a difference between being fake and being strategic to get what you want out of situations and out of life. So when I was younger, I was never that girl that people wanted to be around and just naturally gravitated towards. I was never really invited anywhere. Whenever I would go out, nobody wanted me to be in their photos to post on Instagram, and I felt like I was invisible. I did have a couple of friends, but you know, when you're in school and you just have those friends that are your friends because you're just the most similar to them, that's kind of the situation I was in. And I don't say all this to have some kind of pity party, but looking back, this was actually an advantage to me. I used to think, what makes people like her than they like me? So it was during this time where I really started to become interested in and kind of study human behavior in a way. There were certain things that I took note of and noticed that would make certain girls stand out, and by standing out over others, they would attract the right kinds of people to them. I specifically noticed that I truly started to become magnetic when I simply just started liking myself and liking the life that I lived. It really is that simple. No amount of words of affirmation or makeup or certain clothes or material things can truly give you that magnetic aura. Of course, nothing's wrong with any of those things, but there is just no way to fake a certain glow and a certain light within you. That is an inside job. And it's not really something that can be faked. So when you're magnetic, it just truly shines through you without you even trying. But like I said, there is definitely a role that you play in order to help your journey along. So first and foremost, always put your health first. So this goes for both your physical and mental health, and I believe both go hand in hand. So there's a reason that the saying goes, health is wealth. When you're healthy, both physically and mentally, you're basically uncontrollable. Now, there's a separate tangent I could go on about how if you keep people sick, you keep them dependent and unable to think for themselves, but let's not go there today. So, studies have shown that your gut is basically your second brain, and they are so interconnected. It is no coincidence that whenever I eat bad food, I feel really off the next day, not just physically, but mentally too. Maybe I'll feel more irritated, I'll feel less social, and just overall not in a good mood. So make sure you're fueling your body with proper nutritious foods and try to stick to a whole foods diet as much as possible. And by whole foods, I don't mean the grocery store. I mean, unless you shop there, I mean fruits, vegetables, red meat, fish, chicken, just really minimally processed foods. I'm not saying to go on a diet at all unless that's something that you want to do. I personally did go on the keto diet 4 years ago because I wanted to lose about 20 pounds. And realistically, if you're eating whole, unprocessed foods majority of the time and trying to get in at least 3 to 4 days of exercise throughout the week, then you probably won't need to go on a diet. Exercising regularly has also been shown to improve your mental well-being as well, which I'm sure is not exactly breaking news nowadays. So a few months ago, I was in a very stressful period of my life. And because I was stressed, I stopped working out. I made excuses claiming that I just didn't have time. And on top of that, I also wasn't cooking as much because I didn't want to go grocery shopping. So I resorted to eating out a lot. And it was just a vicious cycle of not taking proper care of myself. I never thought that I was someone who was prone to emotional eating. But if you're eating poorly because you're stressed and in order to get that hit of dopamine, you order pizza or you get Chick-fil-A just because you know it's going to taste good and relieve you of the bad feelings that stress brings on, then that counts as emotional eating. Now, I'm not a dietitian, a nutritionist, or a doctor, so do what works for you in this regard, but I don't think that it takes going to a doctor to realize that eating whole, minimally processed foods and getting regular exercise is the best way to stay healthy over the long term. So I'm truly of the belief that at the end of the day, nobody is ever going to care as much about you as yourself. Of course, you have people in your life that love you and want what's best for you. Well, I hope that we all have people like that in our lives. But at the end of the day, you're the only one who is with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. So you need to do what you need to do to ensure that you reach your fullest potential. So on top of taking care of your body, I think the second most important thing in a girl exudes is authenticity. But how are you going to be yourself when you don't know who she is? So this is where studying and analyzing yourself to become more self-aware comes into play. If you don't know how you react to certain situations or how you behave in certain environments, or what your personal style is, or even something just as simple as your taste in movies or your favorite cuisine, then how are you going to get to know what you want out of life? I'm not saying to analyze and critique and pick apart your every move, but just start noticing how you act in certain environments. For example, maybe you don't like being around big groups of people and instead prefer one-to-one interactions because maybe you're a great listener and you remember the things people tell you about themselves. So a great way to become more self-aware is to start journaling. When you become more connected and in tune with your emotions, you can have better control over them. And the beauty of a journal is that no one's going to read it. So you can literally write whatever you want. Like if somebody were to go through my journals, they would honestly think I'm crazy because some of the things I write in there are unhinged. But it's an emotional release, and that's what it's there for. So for lack of a better term, you can figure out the things, the types of people, and the situations that trigger you, and then work to either remove those triggers from your life or find a healthy way to navigate around them. Another great way to become self-aware is to take a couple of personality tests. I know some people think they're not useful and they're a bunch of garbage, but it couldn't hurt. So I mentioned in one of my recent videos about the Big 5 personality test, which I think is a great place to start. It only takes 10 minutes to complete, super short. And another one, which I'm sure you've heard of, is the Myers-Briggs test or the 16 personalities test. I think this one might take a little longer to complete, but I say go for it. So of all the times I've taken the test, I've gotten that I'm an INFJ the most. I've also gotten INFP like once or twice, and then I got INTP once. So if you know your type, comment it down below. I'd love to know. So, if you watch people who are magnetic and just seem to have people just in the palm of their hands, they're usually not speaking too much. So, start paying more attention to people and show genuine interest in what they have to say. Admittedly, this is something that I struggle with. I am so in my own head sometimes, thinking about all the things I need to do, content ideas, what I'm going to wear tomorrow. But there's something to be said about being present with someone in a moment. And that's all about being an active listener, just being present and grounded. It's so difficult nowadays because everything is so go, 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 especially if you live in big cities like LA or New York or wherever, where it seems like people are just on to the next thing every 5 minutes and no one has time or the perceived time to just slow down. So an active listener doesn't just stand there and nod her head. She's asking follow-up questions. She's engaging in the conversation. If someone makes a joke, she laughs politely so that person knows that they're being seen. And at the end of the day, that's all people want, to be seen, to be heard, and acknowledged. So trust me, being an active listener will have people melting in the palm of your hand. And I can actually do a whole video about conversation skills because this is actually a category that people have told me that I'm really good at. I think being able to converse and engage with different types of people is definitely a skill that most do not have. And if you cultivate it, you can really, really go far in life. So it's cited that 70 to 93% of communication is nonverbal. So learning about body language and facial expressions is crucial in becoming magnetic. Meaning how you walk, move, emote, fidget, your posture, all these things can convey a certain message to others. And if you learn how to read body language, you will be able to tell what people are conveying to you. So when it comes to your own body language, make sure that you're standing up straight with your shoulders back. I don't remember where I heard this tip from, but a good subtle way to check if you're standing up straight is to have your arms down on either side of you. And if your thumbs are turned more inwards, like to your thighs, that means you're slouching. But if your thumbs are pointing away from your thighs or even straight forward, that means that your spine is aligned and you're standing up straight. So another big component of body language is your eye contact. So if you're talking to someone and they're constantly darting their eyes away from you, then that could convey a feeling of nervousness or wanting to escape. Another good tip, if you want to see if someone is lying to you, see where their eyes go. If someone is lying, they'll tend to look more to the side because they're subconsciously trying to escape or get out of the conversation. If they're looking down or straight at you, then they're probably telling the truth. Now, of course, this isn't going to work 100% of the time, but it is something worth noticing. Same thing goes for when you're on a date. Notice where the guy is looking. If you're in conversation with him and he's looking off to the side or around the restaurant, basically anywhere but looking at you, then girl, it's a no. He's not the right guy for you. Another thing that I've noticed magnetic girls do is they expand their horizons. When you think of an it girl or a girl who's magnetic, you think of a girl who's worldly, cosmopolitan. Maybe she travels to other countries once a year or every couple of years. Maybe she knows a second language or multiple languages or is in the process of learning one. And traveling doesn't always have to be outside of your home country. It can be just outside of your state, just outside of your city or town, traveling to a town nearby that you've never taken the chance to explore. It could be going on a day trip out somewhere. So even if she doesn't like the town or city she's currently in, she finds ways to make the most of it. It girls aren't black and white thinkers, and this is something that I had to learn. It girls adapt and make something out of what seems to be nothing. It girls are also not afraid to break out of their normal social circles. In fact, she has more than one social circle or multiple circles that she's a part of. She has friends from different backgrounds and walks of life who have different careers, who went to different schools, who are all working towards bettering themselves. So this is something I'm currently in the process of cultivating. I moved to a new city 8 months ago, and most of my social circle is other people at work who are my age, and we're all in the same program and division at work. And while I like them and enjoy their company, I also want to branch out. I want to have friends in other career fields who work at different companies, maybe doing something completely different from me, who might like to do different things on the weekend, who travel to other places and are interested in different topics than I am. You never know who you can learn things from. And this is also basically a way to network informally. Most career, job, and financial opportunities come from people you know, and people who know you, or someone you know who knows someone. So if you ever want to switch career fields or go work for another company or start your own business, by expanding your social circle, you will come across those people and keep them in your back pocket in case you ever need a favor. Of course, I'm not saying to meet new people and cultivate friendships for the sole purpose of getting opportunities from them, but that is just a natural part of making connections, especially as an adult. So I know that nowadays, especially if you live in a major city, there are apps out there where you can meet new people. I feel like there are no excuses. Yes, it may be scary to go meet new people, but it can be really fun, and you never know who you're going to meet. Even if you meet up once for a coffee and never see them again, at least you're practicing your conversation skills. You're going outside, you're being social. Maybe there's one thing that they said that you had never known before. So people who are magnetic are also not judgmental. They don't look at someone and go, I can't learn anything from that person. No, they always see what people have to say. And eventually, if they learn, okay, I actually can't get anything from this person, then they move on. But you never know what opportunities are waiting for you, and sometimes those opportunities come through people. So becoming magnetic is a consistent and active process. It starts with self-awareness, recognizing your strengths, your idiosyncrasies, and yes, even your vulnerabilities. It means taking the time to journal your thoughts, explore your personality, and strategically build the life you desire. The it girl you've always admired isn't some unreachable ideal. She is you. You are her. And by investing in yourself and being true to who you are, you create a magnetic presence that's exceptional and completely unique. So start today, put in the work, and trust me, every effort counts towards transforming your life into the one that feels as effortless and as enriching as you've always dreamed. And I'm sure it goes without saying, but there will be bumps in the road. Not every journey is perfect from beginning to end, but what is most important is that you start. There is no losing when it comes to investing in yourself. You either win or you learn. It girls don't believe in being embarrassed because to them, what's even more embarrassing is being afraid to even try. So don't be afraid to try things. Who knows, it might end up turning out better than you imagined. So thank you for joining me today. I know there are tons of other channels here on YouTube you could have listened to, so thank you for taking time to stop by here. I can't wait to see how each of you transforms and shares your own magnetic journey as part of the It Girl Collective. If you found today's insights valuable, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more candid conversations, and drop a comment below with your thoughts or experiences. Remember, when you glow from within, nothing can hold you back. I'll talk to you later.